All right. So, man, what's up?
What's going on?
What's up, man? Yes,
All
welcome
right.
everybody. We'll be starting the show here in just a few minutes, but this is episode 199 of Let Me Get That Podagraph. We'll be jumping in here in just a few minutes as we get the show started. Wanted to let all of you know, if you are watching this on delay, that we stream every episode that we do live. The next episode will be a very special one. That'll be a live episode in a different time. We'll talk about that later. But we stream every single episode live, so you guys can join in and ask questions, whatever you would like. We will answer the questions. What's up, Daniel? Good morning.
Yeah,
We will
buddy.
answer the questions either during the break or at the end of the show. So if we don't answer anything, we're not ignoring you or anything like that.
Oh, no. Depending on who you are, we may be ignoring you.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Like if Daniel comes on and asks a question, yeah, we'll get to that at the break and at the end.
Yeah.
We're not going to ignore Daniel.
Right. Some other people might ignore you. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, but yes. So we will answer questions, during that time period. Plus, we've got some bonus content and topics. If there's anything that you have questions about that we're not talking about on the episode, that's what this show is for. That's why we do all these episodes live on YouTube.
Speaking of that, this being episode 199, you know what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Means next episode is episode 200.
Good.
It is episode 200, and we are going all out for this.
Oh,
one.
Yes.
It's going to be a nighttime live stream.
Yep.
With some insane guests.
Yeah, we'll talk about those guys in just a little bit. A couple of them.
Just keep that out. We've got some that we're waiting on confirmation on. We've got some
I'll save my big question for the show. But all right. So with that said, just wanted to say welcome everybody. Thank you to those that do tune in live. We greatly appreciate that. But we're gonna go on and kick off episode 199. So let me get a little sip of some Prime here. This new Glowberry stuff is so good.
Well, hold on. Didn't you say it tastes like sour apple?
Yeah, but not like really. Not like it's not sour though. It doesn't have like a sour aftertaste.
Well, no. Hold on a second though. Then why do they use the word berry in the flavor?
Because it has a berry flavor to it too. It's like sour apple and then I don't know, some type of like blueberry-ish type flavor. It's really good. It's a very unique and different flavor to describe, but I'm actually impressed. It's really fucking good. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. That just sounds.
And the bottle glows in the dark. So that's cool.
All right, I get it. Look, a cool bottle glows in the dark. I get that. Yeah. It's coming out, but it sounds like they made that for guys that like mix fruit in with their meth.
Nah, they made it for kids. If you have a child who plays sports, then you know all about Prime. All right, well,
if you have a child, period, whether they play sports or not, they shouldn't be drinking that crap anyway.
Yes, you should. They're perfectly fine for you. That's internet bullshit. But anyway. All right, so we're going to dive into episode 199 now, so let's get it started. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 199 of Let Me Get That Podagraph, almost to the big 200. As always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, dude?
Oh, dude.
Dude,
you have no idea what the hell happened this weekend. Actually, you kind of do because I sent you the picture from Friday night. All right, so this is Oktoberfest season,
right?
So I took the weekend off of refereeing in order to run the ticket booth at Oktoberfest here in Palatine, Illinois. Nice. And it's put on by the Rotary Club of Palatine, which is an amazing organization. Last year, they gave, I want to say it was like $75,000 or $80,000, which was raised during last year's Oktoberfest to various charities and organizations and things like that. This year, I just got the final totals yesterday. We beat last year's number, which was excellent. But let me tell you, man, this town can drink. The amount, like just Friday night, the amount of kegs that, we went through.
Yeah. Well, I saw the picture. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
It was quite a bit. Well, that's
All right.
awesome. My weekend was fun. We had Collecticon here in Charlotte. My one show a year. I don't have to travel except for drive for an hour. It was so nice. But got to hang out with Sergeant Slaughter. Got choked out by Sergeant Slaughter.
I
And
saw
I
the
will,
pictures.
and I will
That
say,
looked like a lot of fun.
oh, dude. All right. I will say one thing. I wanted to kind of touch on this for a minute anyway. When it comes to meet and greets, we work all these shows all year round, and I've met so many of these different people and got to know them and become friends with a lot of them. But there's a right way and a wrong way to handle a meet and greet, and Sergeant Slaughter is incredible. Like, first of all, when it was me, I didn't wait in line. Like, when it was done, we just we didn't. At the end of the show, we went and talked to him for a little bit. But I walked up and Jared just said, that I was a fan because I grew up watching his stuff. I grew up in North Carolina area. My family always here. He wrestled in the North Carolina territory, so I grew up watching and loving him, and a lot of people did. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, you did. And he could have just said, hey, thank you, and that's it. He talked to me for about 45 minutes.
Damn.
We were about 45 minutes late, took a million pictures, answered every question that I had, told me a million stories that I didn't even ask for. He just wanted to keep talking and talking and talking, and then signed a free Funko and took about 10 minutes to make sure everything was perfect and all these different colors, all this stuff.
Nice.
And made sure, like, he was like, no, let's take like 5 pictures, do this, do that. Like, it was incredible. And it wasn't just me, it was every fan that came up. He was talking and interacting with them and answering questions. Now, all of them not talking as long, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course.
But he was interacting in the right way, and everyone there was just blown away with how cool he was. So shout out to Sergeant Slaughter as being an awesome guy. But that was a really cool moment this weekend. That was a lot of fun.
No, it did. Like I said, I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
You posted and Cut Comp and stuff like that.
Oh, and that choke out, by the way, everybody. His little choke out, that's for real. He put that on me, and I asked him how easy it would be for him to actually choke someone out. And he said, watch this. And he put about a flinch of an inch of pressure on. And if he had put an inch more, I would have been out cold. That thing is very, very real.
Yeah. And when you know what you're doing, and you see it in the you see it all the time in MMA and stuff like that. It's very simple. But if you
the way
do it
he had me, if he had put like 2 ounces of pressure, I'm out. It was amazing.
The problem is if you do it wrong,
yes, yeah,
it could cause massive problems.
Yeah, then
this is one of those do not try this at home moments.
Yes. Anyway, guys, welcome to the show. We've got a lot of awesome stuff to cover today, but a couple of quick things we do want to touch on. Scott, I know.
Dude, this was unbelievable. So, for those of you that follow soccer, Champions League group play started this week.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite times of the year because it's all weekday play. It's all during the day, so I can sit in my office and have it on, in the background. But every once in a while, you notice something that happens that's just absolutely insane.
Yes.
So Lazio versus Atletico Madrid. It was Lazio was down 1-0 in the 95th minute. So they're almost to the end of stoppage time.
Yeah.
And Lazio won a corner. So when you're that far into it, you pull everybody up and put them in the box, including your goalkeeper.
Yep.
So what happened was the corner got deflected out of the box, recovered by Lazio, put back into the box on a cross, and their goalkeeper, Ivan Provedel, headed it in for a goal. So he is now only the second goalkeeper that has scored a non-penalty kick goal in Champions League play.
Yep. History.
And that is history. When was the last time you saw a goalkeeper score a goal that was not a penalty kick? Right. And that usually only happens when the game goes to PKs and it goes 11 rounds because all 11 players have to
you've exhausted your kickers.
Exactly. So then you get to the goalies, and that that actually happened. Inter Miami had a game where that happened a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was a couple of months ago. But but this was a perfectly placed cross.
No, it was.
It was a perfect header.
If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's quite incredible. Absolutely amazing goal. And like you said, just something that you never see from a really great player. But speaking of soccer, Scott, we've got, and you know my view on inscriptions. I love them. I think it's the new wave of the hobby. I think over the next 5-10 years, you're going to see inscriptions rise dramatically. I think it's going to be almost the era of inscriptions once we get about 5-10 years into it. I know the card companies are pushing heavily for it, but Christian Pulisic may have just done one of the most iconic hobby cards, and maybe this card could end up being one of his biggest selling autos that he has.
Yeah.
Christian Pulisic, for those of you that don't know, in the new Impeccable set, there's a set called the Immortal Ink subset, and it's an autograph set. And the number 23 out of 58 auto, he inscribed LeBron James of soccer, which for those of you unfamiliar, some of you might be saying, well, okay. Those of you unfamiliar, there's an iconic skit on Pawn Stars and a meme that's worldwide, really, where they compare him to LeBron James, that he is the LeBron James of soccer. And, in the hobby, it's been a running joke for a long time. And so to see him put that running joke onto a card, I love it, dude. I
love it because you've got two different sides of it. You've got the people who have no clue, who think he's just being a pompous ass and he's full of himself.
Yes.
And then you've got the other people who know what this is based on.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, did he put that on there on his own? Or did somebody at Panini show him the skit? He thought it was funny. Or did he know that, has he known this whole time that that was out there? And
he's very active on social media. And he's also done a lot of videos in the past. He's very open about his signings. When he does signings and things like that, he's shown them in the past. Obviously, the companies also put out videos of him signing because he's popular and one of the bigger stars. He's the LeBron James of soccer. So of course they're gonna put videos out on him. But he does do a lot of public stuff. So I could see him knowing this, but also, like I mentioned before, this is the era of inscriptions for card companies. This is how they're going to take it to the next level in terms of innovation without adding new stuff to cards, is inscriptions on autos. And I could easily see them giving players like him a list of ideas and then letting them run wild with it. And he might, and that could have been one of those bullet points, and he's like, oh, this is funny. And and they probably told him, pick number 23 if you're going to do that. Like, I have no doubt that is not being written into contracts, but I think at these signings like Impeccable, which is signed at events with athletes, it's not sent home and stuff like that. These are signed at certain particular events. I have no doubt that there's a rep there that's probably been, instructed to advise them to do this. Now, whether they do it or not.
Now, here's what I also want to know. So he did that with number 23. We know that.
Yeah.
Did he also include that inscription on number 6?
Good question.
Because frankly, I would have put, I don't know, I would have either put it on both, or I would have put it on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if I would have put it on number 23.
Yeah. Good question.
Because again, LeBron's been wearing 6 the last couple of years again. Would he think to put it on 6 in addition to number 23? We haven't
Well,
seen
let's
number
wait
6.
to see what number 6 is. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a second part to this Pawn Stars equation. I mean, like I said, if what we're talking about is true, and I am a firm believer that these companies are very, very much pushing for certain inscriptions on cards. And then I think there's athletes like Benny Montgomery that just have a lot of fun.
He just goes out on it on his own.
This looks like a company kind of pushed inscription. Maybe they if they did it on 23, I'm assuming they thought of 6 also. But this is a new set, hasn't been out long. So when 6 gets pulled, or let's see, maybe we get an auto. But Pulisic putting a legendary inscription and a really iconic one in the hobby with the the meme and everything attached to it. But it is
I like it. I like it.
It was just funny, like you said, the duality of the people that get it and the people that think he's being an arrogant prick. I
exactly.
love it. Like it's great.
Speaking of great, really quick before we jump into like the full on show.
Sure.
Really quick, I want to point out Jordan Lawler got called up for the Diamondbacks last week. Made his major league debut at Wrigley Field. Had I known that was going to happen, I actually would have gone. Because that's it's in my backyard.
Yeah.
But congratulations for starters.
Yes, congratulations.
We know he actually listens to the show, which is great.
Yes.
So congratulations, Jordan. But I'm gonna repeat. Same thing I popped off as a comment. Man, dude, look, I'm happy you're up. But why you got to do my Cubbies like that, man? Why?
That's what he does.
Why? We're fighting for a playoff spot.
Why I've had his cards for a long time, and I'm glad he's finally called up because
dude, don't do my Cubbies like that, man.
I have a feeling him and a lot of other people are, but I have a feeling he's probably going to do it a lot.
I know exactly, and you know what? We've got a segment coming up in a future show. We'll be talking a lot about him in addition to some other guys. So just a little tease for the coming weeks. When we get to that. So
there you go.
But big announcement this week.
Yeah.
Big announcement this week.
Big.
So we've been waiting on this one since the National. We know all the dealers voted. We know next year is in Cleveland. So 2024 is Cleveland. We knew that 2025 was going to be Chicago. The dealers all voted after the National this year. And 2026 is going to be in Chicago.
Yes, it is.
More than 50% of the vote came for Chicago as the topic. Surprisingly, Atlanta came in third with a very, very small point.
I was blown away at the lack of support for Atlanta because when on the, we were in the corporate area and we went to a lot of corporate dinners, and a lot of the people that I was talking to were, at that time, they were heavily in favor of Atlanta, a lot more than 58. And so, or whatever they got, I believe it was 58 votes. I was blown away at how low it was. The only thing I can think of is that the layout and the infrastructure and all that, they finally got a chance to take a look at all that and do a deep dive in it. And that they probably said, okay,
but they wouldn't have necessarily had the layout and the infrastructure. What I think the biggest deciding factor in those votes were why Atlantic City got as many as they did. And they topped the 100 votes. Incentive. It wasn't a tax incentive. It was the money. It was money. It came down to money.
Yeah.
And because the casinos fund a lot of the activity that goes on at the convention center because it draws.
No, that took a lot of votes away from Atlanta as well.
Yeah.
But Chicago ran away with it, and honestly, rightfully so. I know you're partial to it. Obviously, you live in the area. So, but even if you live somewhere else, you have to admit that it really is the best place for it. Like I've been to at least of the places they're going to go. If they're not going to go to new cities and we're going to keep it to giving you the same options of Atlantic City, Cleveland, Chicago, maybe Atlanta, maybe a different city every now and then thrown in, but the same general idea, there's no better place to have it than Chicago. The way it's built and the way it's set up is perfect for the show. Like they can handle the amount of people without people having to drive 5 miles, 10 miles to get to the show. They can handle it to where 1 million people can be in walking distance of it. They can handle the traffic. The loadout this year was actually incredibly impressive. They've really got it down there to where, I mean, when the people that are voting on this are the people that have to tear up, break down, set up, do all this as well. And so that all comes into effect, not just where it is. And so I think I always say Chicago is one of the best places, if not the best place for the National. So I can see why it ran away with the vote. I was just hoping that enough people were interested in maybe 1 year where we changed things up a little bit and we went with Atlanta. But it also changed the rule. You know, we've got new ownership for the National now,
Right.
for the first time. It used to be no consecutive years in the same city. Well, obviously the new owners don't care about that. So
the new owners, they're concerned about putting on a good show.
Well, yes,
and
they are.
I know none of the West Coast dealers voted for Atlantic City.
No, God, no.
Because a lot of them don't do that show because it's so far.
Yes.
You know, you literally, you know, if you're out,
and it
like,
smells
you know,
like shit. But,
well, I mean, let's put that aside. But if you're in California, you're not, like, the last thing you want to do is pack up a trailer full of stuff and literally drive it across the entire country.
Yep.
That it's just not, and it's not feasible to fly with everything for a lot of people.
No, and if you're doing freight, trust me, we do freight with some of our shows, and that's just absurd, you know, in terms of cost and things like that. So,
well, and then, you know, the possibility of them losing the crate.
Yes.
That has, I mean, and then, you know,
they damage lots of them. Trust me.
Yes.
They damaged ours. Like,
so it's not always the greatest, you know, way to do things. But
right.
Chicago's a great location. It's central for the most part to the country. The airport's right there. The hotels are all right there. Cleveland, and I love Cleveland too.
No, Cleveland's great.
Cleveland's a great show. The only downside to Cleveland is that you don't have a ton of hotels within walking distance of the convention center.
That's the difference. That's the difference, and that's where I that's what puts it above it for Chicago for me, because I'm looking at it from a working aspect.
Yep.
and obviously that's where other people are that are voting. They're looking at it from a working. Since I work every national, it's, you know, everything is aligned perfectly for Chicago. So Chicago getting the national in what, 2026 was it? Yeah.
Yeah, 2026. So it's 2025, 2026 in Chicago. And I've got a feeling that after, I don't know if 2027 has been announced as Chicago previously, or if they're going to be voting on it after the Cleveland show.
It will. It'll be voted on after Cleveland. Yeah.
So we'll see, you know, we'll see what happens.
They'll announce the finalist at the national, and then the voting will happen a couple weeks later, just like this year. It happens like clockwork. So voting for 2027 will be there unless they change the voting up. Like I said, new owners, they can do a lot of different things. So
true. Now here's the other piece to this little segment we got going here.
Yeah.
So it's already been announced that for the smaller regional shows, like I'll use the Chicago Sports Spectacular as an example, happens in November every year and March every year. And starting in March 2024, it's being taken over by Fanatics.
Yep.
Gee, what a surprise. Like everything else in the industry is being taken over by Fanatics.
Who else is taking it over?
They're taking this over, but you've got some interesting things that you've heard about some of the other shows.
Yes. So like you said, Fanatics getting into the Chicago Sports Spectacular. And, you know, Fanatics earlier this year spoke about how they were going to start launching a series of live events. And no one knew what that meant. No one knew what it was. Well, at the most recent Dallas Card Show, Michael Rubin was there and did a very calculated and recorded, of course, walkthrough. Now, this was a very coordinated and very detailed and very thought out and produced walkthrough. I know some of the people involved with the production of it. And it's led to a lot of speculation and a lot of talk from a lot of people that are in the know and that worked on this project that he was there because they are interested in being a part of Dallas card shows as well. That in turn brought out the fact that there were also reps and people at Burbank like crazy. And so it's kind of got a lot of people speculating that possibly these series of events and things that they want to do could be Fanatics not buying outright, but purchasing a part of and being co-owners and working with Dallas Card Show, possibly Burbank as well, and possibly tweaking these to their liking, changing it up a little bit. Say, they said they wanted it to have a Comic-Con type of feel. Maybe them changing things up, maybe those are separate and these are just another part that they want to be involved in. But it looks like Fanatics is calculating and going out and, possibly getting some of these shows under their umbrella as well.
That would be an interesting change, because something that we brought up a while back is that wait, did we bring it up? Or I may have had a private conversation with somebody about this. Occasionally you have some of these larger regional shows that occur on the same weekend.
Yes.
And there's dealers that usually set up at both or attend both, and you wind up having a conflict. But if Fanatics jumps in and or takes over management or ownership or as a partner, in some of these, they're obviously not going to want them to conflict with their own shows in other parts of the country. So it's going to streamline the calendar a little bit better to allow, for, the larger shows not to have conflicts with each other.
Well, I think that's gonna play itself out in the coming years, and the reason that there's so much overlap, because Denver Card Show that would come on, Long Beach and Denver being on the same weekend. There was, I think the problem is so many of these shows are expanding, but they're not announcing everything ahead of time. Eventually they're going to be built out, and you're going to know, okay, they're going to be at these times every year. And then people can actually build around the calendar a little bit better, where right now these shows are popping up, new shows every year. And, that can only go on for so long before a set schedule is built out. But you brought up something that is my main concern, is that if Fanatics does get involved with these shows, which we already know they've taken over the Mint Collective, if that's going to be a thing, we don't know yet.
Right.
They might change it to something else, but the amount of control that they could have, I hope that this isn't an outright buyout of these shows and things like that, because they're going to want to control things like trading on the floor, things like that. There's a lot of things that I think could possibly become issues if they have too much control at all of these big shows. In terms of keeping the shows, what makes them so special is that they are just great card shows.
Well, I can't see them doing anything as far as the card.
I can't either, but I was using it as an extreme. But there's a lot of things they could do that could make the experience less, of a desirable for a lot of collectors. We haven't seen what their live show.
No, but I think their goal is to bring in more collectors,
right?
So I think doing things like that, I think what they're probably going to wind up doing, because like Chicago, great example. I've been doing this show for like 20 years. It's literally had the same schedule, for at least 20. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving in November, and it's the third weekend in March.
Yep,
and it's been like that every single year, at least for the last 20 years, if not longer. They've got the autograph signers that are extremely popular. They've got the card show that's all part of it. What they don't have though is anything live or interactive.
Right.
There's no stage, there's no Q&A with athletes and things like that. And maybe that's something that they're looking to add. You've got I'll use Jeter as an example because he's a popular guy. But if they were to put up a stage and you have Jeter signing, and then you have either before or after you bring him up on stage, do an interview.
Yeah, you let him do his thing.
Yeah. And then you have like a Q&A session.
Right. Right.
with
Oh yeah,
Jeter.
there's a million
There's a
awesome
million
things
things they can do. And I could see that being like the biggest change, as
Sure.
opposed to, clamping down on,
Well,
trading
I
on the
hope so.
floor, or,
I hope it's expanding things. I hope it's new. And they talk about innovation and in at least in lawsuits. I'd like to see some, I'd like to see some innovation when it comes to card shows. I think it could be cool, but it is an interesting thing. Now, none of this is confirmed, but I mean, the Chicago
Chicago
Spectacular
show. Yeah.
and 100%, I can tell you the Dallas Card Show walkthrough was a produced and planned walkthrough. And, obviously that led to speculation with Burbank as well. So we'll look and keep you updated on that as we see what happens with Fanatics and their live shows and their live build out, because look, we're heading into the end of the year. They said that these events were going to happen next year. They're going to have to start announcing stuff soon. So I don't think it's a coincidence that this stuff is happening right at the end of the year when you kind of need to start announcing this stuff.
No, exactly. And look, let's be honest, whatever they announce, it's going to be profitable for them.
Of course.
Because it's Fanatics and they need to make money. And look, I get that. But speaking of profits,
yes,
we're going to take a break. We'll be right back because, well, we need ours too.
Damn straight. All right, and you welcome guys on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. We are on break now, so once again, thank you for tuning in. If you're tuning in live for the first time, on our breaks, we do like to answer any questions you guys have. We also will answer them at the end of the show. If there's any topics that we're not covering today that you would like to hear about, let us know, and we'll do some bonus footage at the end of the show as well. We've got some great stuff coming up on the second half of the show. Some very interesting stuff. So looking forward.
I know Drew's going to talk all about putting peanut butter on his balls so his dog can lick it off. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great.
So we went there on break. Interesting.
Hey, look, bonus coverage. Look, this is normally stuff that gets edited out of the podcast.
That's only, dude, bro. That's only on my OnlyFans. That's only on OnlyFans, dude. And the dog gets paid handsomely.
The dog does get paid handsomely. He
Yeah.
gets all the peanut butter he can eat.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
but
thank you guys once again for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far. It's going to be an interesting time coming soon. For those of you that didn't see, by the way, a couple of things I do want to point out here on break. Last night hit the select Deion Sanders die cut black 101 out of select. Obviously really big card right now, but also wanted to point out, got a gift from some our great sponsors over at Game Time Sports. Tim hooked me up with an awesome Paulo Banchero in-person autograph in the gorgeous blue ink. We got it put in this beautiful Mag Pro right here from Clint. Absolutely gorgeous card that we picked up.
It looks amazing with that crystal clear Mag Pro.
Right? Yes.
I cannot speak that highly, about that product, and I actually can't wait for the Chicago show, because I'm probably going to have I'm probably going to take a lot of my raw cards and, move them into those, just because they sparkle and shine a lot better than they do in regular top loaders and regular one touches.
And now this dude's doing edging at my house. The lawn is being mowed at my house right now, so those of you might get to enjoy a little weed whacking and stuff like that in the background. Apologies for that. It'll be edited out in the audio, but
it's the other thing you do with weed that typically doesn't get whacked.
Yeah. But I can't do that anymore because YouTube and shit like that.
No, exactly.
I probably could,
but we can joke about it.
We can.
Yes.
All right. Well, guys, we are going to dive back into it once again. Please let us know if there's any topics or anything that you would like to know, and leave your comments. We'll post them up on as much as we can. We're also going to be launching a lot of really cool stuff here coming up that I'm excited for you guys to check out. Give you guys a little back end announcement. But Scott, you ready to bring it back in? I'll let you bring it back in. We'll go Bowman, Beckett out.
All right, sounds good. All right, and we are. I'm going to do that again because you coughed in the middle of it.
I know.
All right, there we go. All right, and we are back. Thanks for putting up with all the crap. And those of you on YouTube, thank you for joining us with a little bonus footage. If you want to see what we all do on the bonus footage, check out the YouTube stream. I'm pretty sure there's somewhere down here, or maybe it's down here. One of these two ways here. There's a subscribe button. Go ahead and click on that, and
the bell too.
There's something up there, maybe something up there.
Just click that shit. You know where.
Put it on my nose. It's all good. Yeah. Click on the nose. So that'll be there. Go ahead and click on that. You can take a look at all the bonus footage. But let's get back to it now that the bills have been paid. So big product that came out.
Oh yes.
Bowman Chrome, always a favorite of a lot of people. All the people chasing prospects, all the people, chasing the short prints of the rookies and things like that in there. But one thing they added this year was the legendary firsts.
Yes.
We got 3 of them in there. We got Babe Ruth, we got Roberto Clemente, and we got Johnny Bench. Why Johnny Bench and not somebody else? Look, I love Johnny Bench. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I think we talked about it before. You got to spread the stuff out. They probably didn't want. You got to save big names for later. So you're gonna have guys like that,
Yeah, no, I get that. But what we saw prior to the release, again, we saw David Adams come out with a massive bounty. Now, this was not the partial payment now, and then if he makes the Hall of Fame, you get it later. No. This is the
$200K for the card.
Yeah, $200,000 for the Superfractor Babe Ruth. They did not come out with additional bounties for the Clemente or the Johnny Bench. Again, not surprised on the Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
Little surprised on the Clemente, though. I'm actually, no, you know what I'm surprised about? I'm surprised Steel City didn't come out with a bounty on the
Clemente.
Yep.
Yep.
They're in Pittsburgh. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But we're seeing these pop up, and we're actually seeing some interesting prices on theirs. I looked at the Babe Ruth before we, went live. And
interesting's an understatement, bro.
I know. The base, just the base.
Yeah.
It's about $350.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Now there's a bit down to make it clear. There's a base, a gold, an orange, and a super. Those are the parallels.
Yeah. So it doesn't have the full long list of parallel. Yeah. I want to say if you take a look at all of the color parallels and add them up, I believe there's 81 total.
Yes.
So you've got the 50 gold, you've got the 25 orange, you've got the 10 red.
78. Oh, yeah. No, there's
10 red.
Yeah.
10 red, and you've got the Superfractor, which makes the 81.
Yes.
Or maybe it's, hold on, my math is wrong on that because that would have been 86.
Anyway.
Maybe it's 86. So they're very limited. And have you taken a look at the color that's sold yet?
Oh no, it's absurd, bro. Right here, a Babe Ruth, which I do want to say they look great, even though this is not Babe Ruth's first Bowman card, by the way. But it does have his first Bowman logo on it. There was a orange that sold for $2,150. To put that into perspective, you can buy a 1948, 1949 Leaf Gum Babe Ruth SGC1 for less money than that.
Well, right, but it's not the first Bowman. And it's a 1.
True. It's not,
dude. It's
Bowman.
A 1. It's a 1.
I know. And there's only 25 of them, dude. This shit.
Hold on. Hold on. Before you get to that, so we're gonna get a lot of crap for this. I was joking.
Yes.
My comment about it being the first Bowman and it being a 1.
I think everyone knows that.
Yeah. Yes. Sarcasm. No, dude. There will be people out there that think, "Oh, wow, this guy's a freaking moron."
I know.
No, it was a joke. So just want to clarify that I actually do know what I'm talking about. So all right, continue.
No, so all right, so this is just so ridiculous to me, and it's all because of that bounty. The bounty that was set artificially inflated a market that people are going to be overpaying on these like crazy for a long time, and then they're going to drop off a fucking cliff. I
Well,
mean, I can see it now, dude. That you
see,
can't explain to me. You cannot explain to me how just because it's a first Bowman that means absolutely nothing when it comes to legends are going to hold up with these type of prices. Orange is selling for $2,000. Gold selling. Some of the golds were selling for 4 and 5. I mean that.
all right. So, well, here's my take.
There's
So,
no way.
as far as the product price goes, the price of the wax, I agree that the bounty is, has inflated that price a bit
Yes.
because you're right. But when it comes to the selling prices of these, look at what some of these prospects in the same look at non-autograph cards.
Oh no, I agree.
If you look at what some of the prospects sell for, that I mean, 90% of these guys don't even make it, past double A.
Of course.
So, I mean, I could see somebody paying $2,000, $2,100 for a Babe Ruth.
The diehard Bowman collectors, the diehard guys that are not buying these things all to just flip immediately, but the people that celebrate Bowman Chrome release day by buying into a ton of breaks because they want their shit because they love their Bowman. I can see the market there where they would pay money. What I mean by the inflation of these prices right now is directly caused by that bounty. And I just don't see it sustaining whatsoever because, yes, I understand the desire for it. They're legends. It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. I like the concept, but these diehard collectors that actually want them are going to be able to get them for a lot cheaper very soon because this is going to wear off. But the prices of these are blowing my mind. I understand the demand, but I don't understand the prices.
No, but I can also see that, especially with the lower print run colors, I could see that there's going to be some people that are going to want to start, kind of like the continuity sets.
Yeah.
Trying to get those like all orange.
Right.
And the 3 that are out this year, and then they're probably going to release 3 next year, and those same people are going to be chasing after the oranges. Maybe even specific serial numbers within the orange, depending on what they started with the 3 guys this year. And they're going to want to continue, trying to, just complete that orange set. Or
sure.
You also have people, because again, they numbered these BCP 151, 152, 153, which is something they haven't gone higher than,
thank God.
I'm sorry, 251, 253.
We talked about that before. Thank God they did that.
Right. But you've also got people that are trying to put together a gold-based chrome set.
Sure.
And because these are not numbered L1, L2, L3, there are people that view that as, even though they're an insert, there's people that view them as part of the sequential set. And if you're trying to build a gold set or an orange set, you're chasing those cards as well. So you've got 2 different groups of people that are competing for a very limited pool of individual cards. And that's why I think the bounty isn't really going to affect the pricing of those individually. Now, like I said, but people are chasing that Superfractor because they want the $200,000.
Well, yeah, of course.
Right. Once that Superfractor gets pulled, which frankly, it's been over a week since the product's been out. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been pulled yet.
Yeah, it's going to be soon.
It's one of those things where once that gets pulled, you're going to start to see the prices of wax go down a little bit.
Yeah. But I'm blown away at how strong these are. We're recording on the September 20th. Clemente even. It's not just Babe Ruth. The Clemente orange sold on the 15th for $4,000. The gold sold on the 13th for $2,500. These things are strong. So maybe the Bowman community is looking at this and seeing that, hey, they're going to continue to do this. They're going to want to complete the legend set. They're going to want to complete the low colors, and maybe they do continue. I do think the base, however, I think the base settles quite a bit.
The base I would agree with. I think that does settle, but I'm curious as to how many people from outside the Bowman community, people that don't normally do the Bowman products, are jumping in on those 3 cards.
No, I'd like to know as well, and I think there's quite a few. But it's been interesting to watch. But not everything in Bowman, Scott, has been good, at least to watch, at least in a good way. It's been interesting, but not all has been good.
No.
A couple of days ago.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, do you remember 2020 F1 Chrome?
Yep.
Yeah, and those 70th anniversary Superfractors that were supposed to be one
of ones.
Yeah, even though none of the 70th were numbered, but they were supposed to be 1 of 1s, and they wound up being like 2 of a lot of them.
Yep. We got that problem again with Bowman Chrome already. It's been out, like Scott said, about a week, but and this is crazy. They were both pulled on the exact same day by Real Breaks and Filth Bomb Breaks. The Victor is Turris first Bowman Superfractor non-auto was pulled twice.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them out there. Now, so far, no other duplicates that we know of have surfaced, but yet another Superfractor screw up, and it has to call into question every other card in that set when it comes to the Super.
I would agree. If we never see another duplicate, though, I've got a feeling that that's, going to be, that maybe a one-off, that, the backup copy. Because, again, they do have backups of a lot of these cards because sometimes it gets damaged and, in production, and they don't always catch it in time. So they, you can send it in, they will replace it with the backup copy. They typically don't stamp the backup copies, though, until, the replacement is needed.
Yeah.
But in this case, I've got a feeling that we're probably going to be seeing some additional duplicates out there.
Yeah, no, this
when there's
feels
one,
very much like F1, like you said, with the 70th, where we saw the first one, and then as more product was opened in the coming week, we started to see 2 and 3. And once people started paying attention, they all started posting their pictures of the Super. People started doing a lot of research. And then all of a sudden you find with F1, I know there was over 13 that were at least found. So, I mean, I had a Superfractor tracker that I still have online that shows all of the duplicates that I'd found. I stopped even looking because it got to be so many of them. So I hope that that's not the case, but I would be very weary, and I would expect some Superfractor sales to possibly be a little lower than normal until people figure this out. And I would not sell a Super if I had one and I was trying to profit right now, because you don't know if it's truly a Super. We could have an issue where there's no Superfractors this year. I mean, well, there are, but it's not.
There are, but they'd be, even though they're all labeled 1 of 1,
they're not 1 of 1.
Potentially, they're really out of 2.
Right.
I don't think I can see a situation where there would be a third one out there for somebody, but that becomes a problem, especially now, with the Asturis, since that one's known.
Exactly.
You have to kind of, at this point, until more product is open and more people post, hits and things like that, we kind of have to assume that there are at least others that have duplicates out there.
Yes.
Until we get to the point where enough product has been opened, if we don't see, in the next 60 days or so, if we don't see another duplicate that pops up, because again, that's usually the first 60 days is usually the the biggest product that's open. If we don't see another duplicate Super that's out there, because again, there's 100, there's 100 Chrome prospects in the non-autograph set, so that becomes, there's 99 others that we haven't seen duplicates of yet that we might.
Yeah.
Or we might not.
Right. No.
It always, but here's the other wild part. So that also brings into question, if there are duplicates on a lot of them, do they also extend to the And would there potentially be 2 Babe Ruth supers?
Yep. No, I know that's where you went right where I was going next. That's exactly what I was about to say. We were just talking about how one super in this set is worth 200 grand. There's a possibility that there's 2 of them out there. And I mean, and then you look at the top prospects and what they're selling for. Those superfractors are going for tens of thousands of dollars. Who knows? There could be 2 of those in there. I mean, it's crazy, and it's not shocking to me whatsoever, because I said it when all this stuff happened. Fanatics is putting out products now, and you're seeing the exact same issues that plagued Panini and other stuff and other companies for a long time. Well, you took a lot of Panini employees, basically the ones in these roles. You bought the printing company that had all these problems.
Yep.
And you kept everything the same. And now, guess what? The same fucking problems are turning up. Like,
yep.
You got to change. You got to go in. You can buy all the stuff you want. You can hire all the people you want. You got to change this stuff up. These mistakes, mistakes happen. I get it. If it's a one-off, that's fine. But they can't happen that much on big stuff like this. Like when you're dealing with superfractors and you're dealing with, national trend, whatever, the big stuff cannot be handled like this. There's got to be, if you want more people to come into this hobby, you can't have all of these screw ups, because the screw ups are going to be massively publicized.
But so this goes back to the, where does this all begin?
Right.
Where do the screw ups happen?
Yeah.
I'd love to have on somebody from a, product development standpoint that could speak to that. And I know I'm done this, where we can ask a question as to like, hey, if a screw up like this happens, where in the process does it happen? And how do you go about changing that process to make sure it doesn't happen again? Because clearly Topps, who makes the Bowman products, who is owned by Fanatics, who were not owned by Fanatics when the 2020
exactly
came out.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line and say, all right, guys, we need to make changes here?
Yeah.
And I will say that the 2020 Chrome F1, even though they were superfractors, there was no literature out there that said the 70th anniversary ones are one of ones. They were not serial numbered.
Right. No, none of the 70th ones were.
They were given pack odds. But if you did the math on the pack odds, the math stated that
they were tougher.
There should be duplicates on like 80% of them or something like that. I ran the numbers.
If you look at the track, if you find the tracker I have online that's published, there's a good 3/4 of them that do. So.
Yeah. And there's still a lot of unopened product because the product jacked up in price and there's a point where a product becomes too expensive to rip.
Right.
And that product got to that point.
Yeah.
People are still buying and selling boxes and cases.
Oh yeah.
But they're not buying them to rip. They're buying them to store.
No.
And it's just, it's like, 52 Tops.
Right.
Nobody rips 52 Tops packs.
No. I mean,
it happens occasionally, but
maybe a couple a year by some shady break.
Yeah, but nobody rips that stuff. They're all, whatever's left in packs, boxes, and cases will remain in packs, boxes, and cases for the vast majority of it. So we may never see the true extent of how many duplicate 70th anniversary superfractors there were for that. And
but we're not. But on the Bowman aspect, we're gonna see.
I think we're gonna see more of it. But I mean, there's a lot of Bowman that doesn't get ripped every year, and
obviously, the prices get every product.
Yeah, prices get too cost prohibitive to open, and then you've got the redemptions that expire, and people aren't going to rip them because they don't want to get screwed.
Yeah, it all depends on the class and how the class does overall. If the class has demand, and people want the prospects in the class, then obviously, so it's going to get to that price point like you're talking about, where it's better to hold and just keep flipping the boxes and the cases as opposed
Yeah.
to opening the product. But I mean, enough of it's going to be opened in the next couple of weeks that
we're definitely, if there are
gonna,
additional duplicates, we're definitely going to see some of them.
Yes. But there is already one. Once again, the Victor is Turris. Hell, who knows? There might be a third. But if you're looking for the Victor is Turris first Bowman Superfractor, you got 2 options this year for some reason.
Well, 3 if you include the autograph.
Yeah. 3 including the autograph. But hey, Scott, we were about to discuss another topic here, and I just got some breaking news in directly related to that topic.
Excellent. Let's talk about it. What do you got?
Now, I told you beforehand that I knew that this had happened, but now it has been made 110% official. The Beckett Industry Summit this year has been canceled.
Okay.
Live breaking news right here on the show. This is 2 weeks in a row when we've gone live and we had actual breaking news.
I know, but here's the thing: we were actually
Summit canceled.
We were going to talk about this in this last segment, and we were going to talk about it as we've been hearing rumors that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And
even though I had gotten confirmation that it was done, but we couldn't say that yet.
We couldn't. It wasn't public. We couldn't say it, so we were just going to discuss it as rumors. And I'll be damned.
Yeah. Officially
canceled. It happened. So
now, whether they've made the announcement or not, I don't know, but it has been officially canceled. I just our chat just confirmed it by about 15 different sources. Beckett Industry Summit is canceled.
All right, so this is big news because the Industry Summit, I mean, it's been a long-standing conference.
Yep.
There's usually a small show that goes on. There's a lot of the big dealers, a lot of the big people in the industry.
Huge for the North American market, like the north of the border market, Canadian market, everything.
It's not shocking.
No.
After hearing, obviously there's been some changes at Beckett over, the last couple of months. And, a lot of the rumors that we have been hearing, and again, I want to preface this as these, are rumors that we've been hearing. We have yet to find anybody who has been willing to confirm a lot of this stuff, but we've been hearing it from multiple sources in multiple different places, and it's all lining up to be, the same. But
when I spoke to a couple of people in the industry and told them, my questions and everything, I was met with a resounding yes, you are correct. So
So I'm curious as to what this means. We have heard, rumors that the employees have been told to use up all their vacation time.
Yep.
And something like that, when I hear that in a company, that usually means one of two things. And neither of them, it could be good, could be bad. It could be, take it as you will. But when I hear that within a company, that usually means either one, they're planning to put the company up for sale and they don't know what the new, whoever buys it will come in with their own policies and, who knows. The other thing that sometimes happens when you hear that is they're planning a bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that Beckett is doing, because again, these are rumors that we have heard, and a bankruptcy may not be the worst thing in the world, for them, because I don't see them going out of business. I see them using it as a strategic bankruptcy to restructure.
Well, because they've got an interesting situation also, because they also, part of Beckett is Peachtree, the distribution, and Fanatics has already
hold on, not part of Beckett.
No, but
it's part of Beckett's parent company.
Yes, their parent company.
Right.
Well, Fanatics has taken them out of the distribution loop. So they're not going to be doing distribution with Fanatics. So obviously a lot of products going forward. So they've laid off a lot of people. They've closed offices. They've gotten a lot smaller. They've restructured their corporate level. A lot of stuff has changed there. And it's led to a lot of speculation as to everything that's going on at Beckett, because like you said, we've heard rumors of a lot of different stuff, from vacation to missed pay to tons of different.
Yeah, obviously the industry summit getting canceled was one of those rumors.
Yes,
and obviously that has come out. Now, here's what I don't get though. So Beckett's parent company also owns Southern Hobby
and
Peachtree.
Yeah,
both were distributors. So I'm just wondering if that, if Fanatic's not working with Peachtree anymore, is they're just going to take whatever that allocation was going to be and just roll it into Southern.
I would assume,
and they're just going to merge the two.
Yeah, it might be Southern that's aligned with Beckett. I can't remember.
No, it's definitely Southern. So I wasn't sure. Peachtree, I hadn't heard anything about.
No, okay, well then it's not Peachtree. I misspoke on that. It was Southern that's tied with them, and not Peachtree, but Southern Hobby. But what I've been told, and this is so all of this stuff leads me to believe that something really big is happening at Beckett. Obviously, something massive is going to happen, and we've been told. I know you've been told by people. I was told by multiple different people that in the very near future that a huge announcement regarding the future of Beckett is going to be made. And when I posted this on my personal page, I had multiple people in the industry reach out to me and confirm what I said. Yeah. Like they reached out to me without me even doing it. Big time people in this industry contacted me saying, I don't really know how you heard this stuff and figured it out, but yes. And so there's
it's because we have really good sources.
That's true.
That's how we didn't figure anything out. Like this wasn't on our own. We have really good sources that give us this information.
But like you said, bankruptcy could definitely be an option. I could also see a move with a partnership with another company. Like I said, I can already tell you right now, it is not Leaf. There's been a lot of rumors that it's Leaf. I can tell you it 100% is not going to be a merger with Leaf, but I could see them doing something along those lines. It's not going to be Panini either, obviously, because Encased basically is now not even Beckett slabbed mostly. I mean,
they're mostly one touches. But you know what I would love to see with Encased? I'd love to see them move away from the one touches and move to the Zion cases, Mag Pros.
Yes, these beautiful Mag Pros
because they can actually create a flip for it,
right?
And have their own custom label, and
true. Yeah.
And then just like they used to have when they were slabbed, and then they could put the Panini stick, the security sticker over the top.
Yeah,
that they should do. So if anybody from Panini is listening,
yes.
That would be an awesome thing to do instead of using the Ultra Pro one touches, switch over to the Zion cases Mag Pros, and remember to give credit where you heard that idea.
Exactly.
Because it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, who do we know? Oh, Tracy.
Yeah.
Tracy, if you're listening, and I know you are, take that idea and run with it. They also look a lot better than the than the one touches.
Exactly. And it gives back that, that slab feel. And these are the wave of the future anyway for one touches. So you might as well hop on board Panini. But so a lot of just confusion going on at Beckett right now.
Yeah.
But one thing we can't confirm with breaking news on the show, the industry summit this year is canceled. No, Scott, while we're on the grading company side of things, before we wrap up today's show, our good old friends at SGC, Peter and company, dropping
doing it again
themselves this week.
Doing it again. Actually, it was last week, but we had some technical issues. Couldn't get the show done last week. So in addition to releasing a new app, which is awesome. If you haven't used it, like, it's really intuitive. It's cool. It's nice awesome.
App,
they did something that people have been complaining about for several years now. They lowered their prices.
Yep.
$15 with, by the way, on modern cards, 2000 and newer, no upcharges.
Yeah.
And $9 for TCG.
Yeah. Yeah. And $40 for like a 1 or 2 day turnaround. like
which
crazy.
is insane. Now, I will say that the $9 TCG thing was $9 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Now
they're
no,
adding
I'm
in
sorry,
the
it wasn't $9.
One
No, it wasn't $9.
Magic.
Sorry, it was I think it was $15 Pokemon or something. They lowered it to $9, and they added in all of the TCG in it as well. So
the
Magic, your
Kakarot, the
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Disney, the Magic, all that stuff. Yeah.
exactly. So, and then they lowered all the other stuff, all sports 15,
Mhm.
and obviously non-sports included in that too. That's not TCG,
Right.
but 15 with a 6 to 10 business day turnaround time. Absolutely insane. Can't believe they actually did it. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I can because
Well, yeah,
again.
I can.
So the question is, I actually have a couple of questions. One,
Okay.
will this increase adoption? Because obviously SGC has far and away taken over the number 2 spot in the grading, portion of the hobby.
Yes.
PSA is still number 1 by a very wide margin.
Yes.
So my question is, are more people going to adopt SGC as their grader of choice, especially on the TCG side of things? And what is PSA going to do in response?
Okay. Well,
Now, frankly, and I think I can answer the PSA question. I think if they see a drop in their numbers, I think they're going to have to come down.
Well, I'll tell you right now, because obviously working with Gem Mint, we work directly with PSA. PSA lowering their pricing is already in the plans and in the plans for the future, and they will be lower eventually. That's already in the pipeline. It's already happening. I can already tell you that for a guarantee. But one thing that I think, and you already are seeing it, is PSA has adopted the SGC idea of doing specials on certain things. They're doing a lot more specials. They've got their NFL card special now, where I believe it's down to ridiculously low for any modern NFL cards.
Well, but PSA's been doing quarterly specials for years.
Right, but it's not quarterly anymore. They're doing a lot more specials. They're doing a lot of targeted specials, like SGC did, like during special releases, not for a particular product, but for an era, for times, for a certain type of product that's hot right now. So, but the price decrease is going to come eventually. If they see a big drop in the numbers, probably quicker than anticipated, but you are going to see a drop in those. But I mean, I can see on the other side of your question, I can see more people adopt it, but my question becomes, okay, the grading's that low, the difference is there by a wide margin. I hope it doesn't, in people's eyes, cheapen the value of the slabs in people's eyes, because that's going to directly correlate to the secondary market. Now, I don't think it will, but there's always that possibility when you get down to there. Now, am I going to start submitting a hell of a lot more to SGC? Yes, but those 9.5s that are going to sell 50 times lower than a 10, well, now at least I know the ones that I can still send over to PSA to get that 10 and have, and not have to put that much money into it to do it.
Yeah, because obviously you've sent the 9.5s, the majority of the ones that you've cracked and sent to PSA have come back 10s.
Oh, very, very much so. The success rate on that is well over 80%. Well over 80%.
Yeah, and that's that's a huge
the price
number.
Discrepancy in the SGC case is where
it's huge. It's huge,
and that's where I want to see if is lowering the price going to make people submit more, and we're going to have more sales, and there's going to be more demand for it, or is it going to have the opposite effect where people say, well, they're just this $15 grading company, which I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying it is. I think
don't. 3 or 4 years ago, that would have been.
Yes.
It would have been
3 or 4 years ago. Yes. I think they've built up big enough now to where they don't have to worry about that. Right. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens, because $15 has been the sweet spot that collectors have been asking for forever. Is $15 grading. That's, if you ask most people that grade a lot, That's where they've been looking for. The people that submit 40, 50, 100 cards a month or a couple weeks, and there's lots of them. Trust me, I know them. That's the sweet spot that they've wanted to be at, is around $15. A lot of everyone says, they'd love it to be 10, but everyone's like, I'm perfectly happy at 15. Well, now SGC.
I mean, I'd love it to be 5.
I'd love it to be 3, but 15
Yeah.
has always been that sweet spot that a lot of people have said they wanted, and now you've got that option at SGC. So it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, what's going to happen in terms of the secondary market, and in terms of, I'm looking forward to seeing the gem rates and what comes in over the next month. I think those numbers are going to be very interesting, but I expect a massive uptick next month. I want to see 3, 4, 5, 6 months of data to see what happens.
Exactly. And obviously, I don't want to, because again, the announcement came out about halfway through September. So September's numbers are going to be a little bit skewed.
Yes.
But, if you're looking at the numbers from GemRate, who I love, by the way, the detail that they put out is absolutely amazing. October's numbers is really the ones that I want to see. And those will come out at near the beginning of November. So, we'll have to wait on those, and then obviously tracking it every month to kind of see if it sustains itself. And then see what PSA's response is.
Now, PSA's response, I will tell you, is not going to be some quick, dramatic thing.
No,
it's not going to be some, oh my God, they went to 15. We got to do something fast. That's not going to happen. But there is a lowering of prices in the pipeline. There are a lot of different specials and a lot of different options that are going to start to become available. I already know this on the PSA side of things. It's going to be a slow rollout of those processes. And it's still, Nat Turner's original vision that he's not fully implemented yet, because of who they are and how big the company is. Yeah.
And it's, the larger the company, the harder it is to, roll out certain things. And, we get
plus, I mean, SGC is under the SGC umbrella. PSA is under the collectible umbrella, which has about 800 different freaking companies in it. That's a big difference. That's a big difference when you're talking about making massive changes to your entire structure of your pricing structure of your company. So
exactly.
There's not going to be any quick, dramatic changes from PSA, but you will be seeing some changes in the near future. But
no, exactly. And unfortunately, that corporate structure that's been there at Collectors was there prior to Nat buying the company. So it's not, that Nat, put all this together and now it's not nimble and can't move around. But SGC was built in a way that makes it very easy for them to make, quick changes, big changes, small changes, and, and make it all work.
Right.
And that's by design.
Mm-hmm.
Collectors got to the point where they've got all these different companies under their umbrella and it's hard to make changes, but it's not Nat's, Nat didn't do that. He just came in and bought the company and it was already like that. So things have to happen a little bit slower, in that type of environment. So,
but one thing for sure will be interesting to watch. But SGC making some major waves this week with last week dropping their grading down to 15. And like Scott said, that app, it's a damn good app.
Yeah.
But Scott, I think it's probably a good time to wrap up the show. We got a couple things to talk about before we wrap it up, but I think it's probably a good time to.
I think it's a good time. Let's get into the fun stuff now.
All right, so guys, episode 200 is next week. We will be doing a special live episode on Wednesday, the 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern. On that show, we are going to have a ton of special guests. We've got a lot of people. We're also going to have open phone lines for you to possibly call in if you'd like to come hang out and join the party. 2 guests that I can't confirm right now. One being Denny's Cards. Great guy that I'm sure a lot of you follow over on social medias, Instagram and everything. And the other is none other than longtime friend of the show, Tracy Hackler from Panini is coming back. He's his first time back on the show since going back to Panini.
Yep.
So it's going to be great to have Tracy back on the show, plus a couple other surprise guests that we'll also have on the show as well.
Waiting on confirmation on a couple. Who knows? We could have some huge announcements to make. We don't know.
And is the ice ball coming?
We will see.
No, I hope so. I love ice ball.
We will see if the ice ball comes.
There you go.
But it's going to be a good party environment. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to, we're going to talk about a lot of things with these guys, and it's all going to be a great episode. Live.
Yes. Live.
Nighttime episode. So we'll, see what happens with that.
Streaming on multiple platforms, YouTube, Facebook. It'll be all over the place for you to be able to watch. But it will be a special live 200th episode celebration. Want to thank you guys for helping us get there. I'll be saying that a lot more next week. But it is absolutely amazing. But be on the lookout for that, because it is going to be a big one, fellas. And we do have some giveaways as well, and possibly the return of something very special. So really looking forward to episode 200. But that is going to do it for episode 199. Before we go, I would like to thank our awesome sponsors. Would not be able to do the show without you guys. Of course, Zion Cases and their awesome new coming up Mag Pros. Show Your Slab, Slab Strong, Denver Card Shows, Stand-Up Displays, Game Time Sports Cards, and Treasure Hunter Sports Cards. Thank you guys for everything that you do. We could not do the show without you guys. Of course, Hobby Hotline every single Saturday, 11 a.m. over on Bench Clear Media. Make sure to check that out. I'll be on in October. Not sure the date exactly yet, but it will be up. New NFL Hot List is up on Hobby News Daily, so check that out for my top 10 NFL players in the hobby right now. We've got a lot of awesome stuff in the pipeline for you guys, so really looking forward to it. And like I said, episode 200 next week, live Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. But until next week, you guys know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits. We'll talk to you then. Peace. All right. And thank you, everyone on YouTube, for staying and hanging out. What is up, everybody? Hope everybody.
All right.
Well.
So I just want to go through, before we get this, a couple of comments. Let's see. Chris Brown. Say yes to SGC sliding up to number 2, which I say thank God to the price decreases. I agree with you 100% on that one. Prices are needed to return to Earth since the end of the pandemic. And I wouldn't say end of the pandemic, because there was a period. Yeah. I mean, look, let's be honest. The pandemic lasted like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
And it should have been done. Yeah. But again, I'm not going to get into that. I would say since the end of the boom.
Yeah.
Which lasted a little bit longer than the pandemic really should have lasted.
Right.
So end of the boom. So I would say absolutely on that. Agree with you 100%. And, we've seen price decreases happen from all the companies within the last year. This is the first time that we're seeing them really, come back to where they were pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Now, I want to touch on Daniel Rodriguez's question real quick. Obviously, working all these collecticons, I've gotten very into the TCG market, not even really by choice, just by circumstance and my job. But hey, guys, I see the Lorcana game is hot right now. Is this the flavor of the week, or will it have staying power? Well, Daniel, TCG games are in a very, very difficult position because you have to have enough people to play the game. So that means you have to print a lot because people need to be able to play, and you want more people to play it. But collectors also want it to be collectible. So they don't want the print runs to be so high. They want it to be collectible. So the reason that Pokemon and Magic are able to do this and other games are struggling, like MetaZoo, which comes out hot and then, kind of fades and has its tiny little waves, is because Pokemon's got now 2 generations. Magic's got 2 generations of people, adults and now new children and teenagers that are all fans of this game and that grew up with it. So there's a very big difference in that. Now with Disney, you've got the entire Disney catalog. You've got eras and generations of iconic characters. If they can get people to play the game, yes, it has staying power. If they can't get people to actually play the game, then no, I think it's a flavor of the week type thing. Now, I will say Disney is putting a lot of assets and money and people and stuff in this. You are going to see tournaments, you are going to see promos, you're going to see a ton of stuff when it comes to Lorcana and the stuff in the future. But TCG is a very interesting space, as the idea of the game almost makes it impossible to be highly collectible, which is the problem with a lot of Pokemon and Magic and stuff like that, and why only some releases get that huge amount.
Well, but I think part of that is Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! They've all done a really good job with the majority of each set and series that comes out is mass printed.
Right.
And it gets it into the people's hands so they can play the game. But there are a handful of cards in each one that are, I don't want to call it short printed, because I mean
super rares, ultra rares,
yeah,
hyper rares,
exactly. I wouldn't even go that far. I would talk about the full arts, the secret rares, yes. But there's a handful in each set that are significantly shorter printed than the majority of the cards that are used to play.
Well, and also a lot of the ones,
it's a balance,
right? But also a lot of the ones that also hold value have a lot to do with the art itself.
True.
Know, if the art is nice, I mean, look at the Umbreon V, which is one of the bigger cards of the modern era. It's the artwork that's driven that card to iconic status in the legend. Even though it was printed insanely high, the demand is still that much higher because it's such a nice card. But Lorcana, it's not a flavor of the week. Now, I will say boxes and stuff like that, look, it's Disney. They're going to print this shit. It's going to be reprinted. The boxes and all these insane prices probably aren't going to hold. But I do see Lorcana having staying power. I've bought some. I'm grading all of my first edition foils and everything. My hope is, if they do continue to reprint, and I'll end it with this, if they do continue to reprint, that they designate the reprints in some way. So you know what the first editions were, so you know what the second were, so you know what the third were. Look, it's no secret. They don't need to hide it from us anymore. We know they're reprinting stuff. We know they're doing second and third prints. At least let us know which ones we have, because that, again, helps the collectability factor of everything.
Right.
And people,
it allows, people can still play the game with the second print, the third print, and then the first print becomes the collectible aspect of it. Exactly. But I would agree that it's not a flavor of the week, because Disney is going to they have deep enough pockets to make sure that it's not a flavor of the week.
Yes. No, and you have, like I said, the big thing is how many generations of people do you have that can collect? Like games like One Piece and MetaZoo, they're at a massive disadvantage because they don't have lore and history to build upon. Disney has the entire fucking Disney library. I mean, what more can you ask for in terms of, I can't wait for a Lorcana Fantasia card. Like I'm just waiting for the fucking bucket and the broom. Like,
and it's only, then you also have, all the other properties that they own too. When's the Lorcana Star Wars product coming out?
Right.
Because that's got to be.
Oh no, it all is. It all is. The entire Disney universe is coming. It's going to be big. And that's why, like I said, a lot of money is being pumped into this. They are building up a massive presence at big conventions that I would not be surprised to see them start to do massive Lorcana events. But like I said, right now, it's getting people into the game, getting people familiarized with the gameplay. But you can't really have tournaments until people know how to play the game. And you got to get people playing the game. So, that stuff you'll see in the future, but you're just seeing the beginning of Lorcana.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And Disney is one of those, it's coming. If it was put out by somebody else that wasn't Disney, it'd be a flash in the pan. It would really be geared towards collectors. You might see 1 or 2 additional products come out, and then it would be done.
Yeah.
Disney's not going to let that happen.
No.
You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, it is about that time. So we are going to wrap up. Thank you guys for tuning in on YouTube for the YouTube bonus after features. Of course, every episode we do stream live. You can drop your questions and comments, any topics that you'd like us to discuss, and we will talk through them either on the break or here at the end of the show. And then, of course, the audio version can be found on all platforms thanks to iHeartMedia. So make sure to check those out. But me and Scott will be back next week. Remember, next week, episode 200, special start time, Wednesday, 9 p.m. at night, Eastern time. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. You know, the unannounced guests. Obviously, the announced guests are exciting.
Yes.
The unannounced guests and the unannounced announcements, those are going to be fun too.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in live. We had a lot of you guys watching today. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week. Peace out, guys.